Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another segment of Experts Corner. Today, we have an amazing guest. We have David Sullivan from Global Ag Risk Solutions. How are you, David?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
Good. I'm happy to have you back. So today, we are going to be speaking about leveraging agronomy and marketing as part of the ongoing series that we've been doing with you guys at Global Ag Risk Solutions. So before we dive in, can you tell our audience a little bit about who you are, what you do, and touch on Global Ag Risk Solutions a little bit, please?
Yeah, so I'm C.O.O. at Global Ag. I've been here for 6 years, started in sales, moved through underwriting, and now in C.O.O. Grew up on a farm. So the moose job, about 45 minutes, mixed grain and cattle farm, focused on lentils, chickpeas, durum, canola, mustard. So Global Ag's, we're a growing company. We were the first private insurance product in the market, and we're going into year 11, I guess it is.
Excellent. Perfect. So today, as our fourth segment together, as I mentioned, we're going to chat about agronomy and marketing. Do you want to chat about that, set the stage for the conversation, and share your thoughts?
Sure. So, as an insurance company, all insurance is a financial behavior tool. So, farms that are well insured will take risks that farms that aren't insured won't take. And that impacts their decision making. And we see it with our customers. What we do is insure the farm's gross margin. So in that calculation, we're insuring the yield times the price minus the cost of seed, fertilizer, and chemical. So inherently in your agronomy, spending more money on seed, fertilizer, and chemical, and the decision to do it is oftentimes, is there a positive ROI? But then, what if it doesn't rain? What if it's too hot in July? All of those decisions, making guys not do the best job they can from an economic standpoint. And then on the marketing, because we're insuring both the yield and the price, grain marketing is somewhere where farms have the opportunity right now to take on great production contracts for new crop for next year. But a lot of guys are scared because in 2021, they contracted grain and couldn't fill their deliveries. And then they had a buyback. But because we insure the price, we're obviously, that buyback is part of our insurance package. So all of those things give farms the freedom to operate the way they want to operate. We don't tell farms how to farm, but we give them the options available to them to manage their business the way they want. And what we see is more aggressive marketing and more aggressive agronomy, and which ends up in better production year in and year out, even in the good years, obviously, but also in the bad years.
Okay. Excellent. So that's excellent. That's really sets the stage for the conversation. And now why don't we dive into each one of those? Do you want to start with agronomy and sharing your thoughts a little bit deeper on that one?
Yeah. And so my background, I'm an agronomist by trade, went to the U.S. and worked in, ag retail and chem companies. And a lot of times the agronomic recommendations were, I'd do soil tests for guys and we'd show how much fertilizer they were going to need to hit their yield goals. And I'd be like, well, I can't afford that. Mm-hmm. And so they dial their fertilizer back to match their budget. And inevitably they wouldn't grow as big a crop as they could have. And the reason a lot of times was they were afraid to put as much money as we were recommending into the ground because there was just no insurance options for them that gave them enough coverage. And when, Global Ag came around, our family farm was one of the first customers back in 2011. And once we understood how to use it and knew how the product worked, we changed a ton of our agronomy. We changed our rotation. We changed our fungicide packages we were using. We changed our fertility. We changed the seed, our seed selection. And all of those things helped us build a better, higher performing farm. And so, why I work here is because of that connection to the farm and seeing what we did on our business and what it did in the additional production and the additional money we were making through, the mid 2011, 12 through 2017 until we started to see these droughts. And then we went through a clay. We ended up, we were putting all the fertility, maximum, we were growing chickpeas, spraying them 5, 6, 7 times with fungicides, trying to grow these big crops using, really expensive canola varieties, buying new durum varieties, every second year. And we're doing all these things right. And then we had the drought in 2018, just, take our legs out from under us. But what it did was, we went through the claims process. We knew our bottom line because of the way our insurance works. And even though we were spending a lot of money on crop inputs and making a lot of money through all those years, when the bad year came in 18 and we ended up in a claim, we just dusted ourselves off and went back at it again the next year. And I know that we wouldn't have done that had we had a traditional crop insurance product. There was no way we would have been able probably to afford to operate the way we were operating, because we would have had not enough cash to fund the next crop the way we were. So we would have had to make compromises. We would have had to change our fertility, probably change our rotation to something that was less profitable, but more affordable. And that would have been a bad business decision to do that. But we had global ag, so we knew that we were fine in 2018 and we were going to roll into 2019. And then 2019 was a drought again in our area. And that, belief in our agronomy plan was foundational to using global ag. And that's, my personal experience, but I've seen it on lots and lots of farms that we work with that are seeing the benefits of having a gross margin based insurance rather than just a yield based insurance.
I love it. Talking with Mark in the previous segments to this one. And like you're saying, you just farm a little bit different when you have that bottom, right? When you take those moves that you want to make, right? To get the best yields for your farm.
Yeah. Right? We're focused on, gross margin on our farm. Because that's how we pay the bills. And we're trying to generate the highest yields, the best price. And that combination, it costs money to do, which added a lot of risk to our business. But then we handed that risk off to global ag. And my dad he said it was a really expensive sleeping pill, because he was one of those guys, grumpy farmer, kick the dog as he walked across the yard, kind of because of, mad at whatever's going on, right? And once we started having global ag and understood how to use it, he stopped, looking at his phone, watching those hailstorms, wondering about the weather. He enjoyed life a little more. And he said he could sleep at night because he understood his bottom line, even though we were taking on a lot more risk by doing this more aggressive agronomic plan. And, he said it was a pretty expensive sleeping pill, but it was worth every penny.
Nice. I like it. And that's why I bring on guests like you guys and do segments like this, because farming is wonderful, right? We love it. That's why we do it. But I don't think there's anything more stressful in life to do. And if you can have a little bit of reassurance, protection, insurance that helps you sleep better at night, that is a game-changing concept to me.
Yeah, our farm, we're not a big farm, but really every business out there, you're taking, basically your entire net worth and sinking it into the farm and hoping that it rains and hoping that the weather cooperates and you get a decent crop and hoping that the markets cooperate and you get the price that, you can make money with. It's a crazy business when you think about it, in that context about how much risk we take. And now, 2022, looking at commodity prices and fertilizer prices and price increases in most chemicals, and even just your bin run seed is now more expensive. You got to put it in the ground or you could have sold it. Everything is so much more expensive. So farms are taking on more risk than they've ever taken. But the best thing they can do is still stick to their agronomic plan, because the opportunity is so big in 2022 because those commodity prices are so high, which is, but how do you take advantage of it if you don't grow the best crop you can grow? And we've seen even lenders, calling us and asking us about our product, this year especially, but last few years, because they understand that they can margin our insurance product. It allows them to lend money to the farmer to stick to his fertilizer plan, to stick to his agronomic plan, maybe to stick to his expansion plan in a time where it's really expensive to expand. That first year's crop is going to be probably one of the most expensive crops they may ever plant in their lifetime. But the banks are saying, yeah, you got global ag, you can do it, because we understand that we have our bottom line covered, even with this expensive agronomic plan that we're going to execute on.
Okay, I love it. Is this a good point to pivot to grain marketing? Do you want to go there? Okay,
Yeah.
let's get you to share your thoughts on grain marketing right now.
Yeah, and the 2022 is a great opportunity because the grain prices are so high and new crop bids are so high. And it's grain marketing's probably scarier than it's ever been because of, the drought in 21 meant guys couldn't deliver on contracts. They had buybacks. They're also afraid that if we lock it in now, like they did in 21, maybe we'll see higher prices.
Yep.
And what we see is guys are probably hesitant. We're seeing less grain being contracted this year than we've seen in the recent past, certainly, for new crop.
And shy.
And I think it's a combination of fear and maybe a bit of hope that prices will continue to go up. But there's a lot going on in the world that is not supply and demand driven. So the market and the volatility has, this crazy volatility that we're seeing caused by wars and politics. And, we see potential for it to continue to go up, but no one's ever gone broke selling grain for a profit. So maybe we should be locking in some of this $21 new crop canola, some of this $12 new crop wheat. And you don't need to lock in the whole crop, but a lot of guys are scared to do it. So, with global ag, let's pray that it doesn't happen, but Mother Nature throws us another drought. If that happens on a broad scale, we'll see higher prices like we did through the fall of 2021. And then if you don't have that grain to sell, you're going to have to buy it back, just like they did in 2021. That's covered as part of your global ag policy. So if you have a poor yield and have buybacks, that buyback is included in the calculation. And we cover that on farms that buy our insurance. We don't cover all buybacks. You have to be in a claim first. So, you can't contract too much grain. You have to contract, a reasonable amount for your business. But it really allows farms to choose what's the best price I can lock in now, maybe let some float, as well as considering acts of God on certain contracts. So on a lentil contract, it probably costs 2 cents a pound for a lentil contract. You're going to lock in 10 bushels. That's an expensive insurance to buy that, to have that act of God on those lentils. You could keep that 2 cents, contract it for 2 cents higher price with no act of God and use global ag as contract insurance or act of God insurance. Okay. And it's barley's same thing. We're seeing, 50-cent spreads for barley and oat contracts with rollover clauses. Well, it's great to have a rollover clause, but maybe you just want to take that 50 cents for yourself and then use global ag as the contract insurance against that barley. There's a lot of moving parts. It's complicated. There's risk involved with it, but we want to give farms the most options they can to make the best business decisions for them. And our insurance allows that to work how they want it to work. So we see it as a great added benefit to gross margin insurance. It's probably one of those best kept secrets about how that works, because it's, we're really diving into the weeds when we start talking about grain marketing and buybacks and contracts, because it's complex stuff.
It's important though. And, that drives me to an important point, David. I always, in these segments, as farmers, we need to know so many things, right? As a farmer, you wear 10 hats and you're like 10 positions at least in your business. And we're sometimes our own worst enemy. Expect ourselves to know everything about everything. And now when we get into a different product like what you guys have to offer, we're sitting there going, okay, that sounds interesting, but I don't quite get it. So I always like to throw myself under the bus, that human element, right? The ego, whatever you want to call it. So you guys at Global Ag Risk, let's say I'm interested, and we're going to talk about working with an advisor right now. If I'm interested, do you guys really walk a farmer through how this works step by step? Because like you said, it's easy, but there's a lot of moving pieces, right? And sometimes we might want to pick up the phone and go, okay, I'm interested, but we don't quite get it, right? And then that could stop us. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's, our business, we take pride in that we help farmers make the right decision for their business. So sometimes, we quote a farm and we are slam dunk the best product that they can buy for their risk management. Great. Sell that guy policy. Other guys, we find out that we're not a fit. Our offer's not right for their business. We should not sell that policy. So we don't. And then oftentimes it's actually a mix and match, or maybe it's a bit of global ag, maybe it's some agri stability, and maybe some crop insurance all layered in there together. So we provide our advisors to the farmer, and they come out and do a full analysis of the business. They look at your expenses, your costs, your cash flow, and your risk management, and try and bundle that all together. And then visually, we have tools that help them show the farmer their business in a simple Excel spreadsheet. And that process takes time, but it's very well received. Farmers give us a lot of compliments in the process that we go through. Some people would charge you a lot of money to do that process. We do it just as part of our sales consultation process. And that whole working through the business, it's farm by farm by farm. There is no one simple answer that just fits everybody. You have to do the analysis, and the advisors do a great job of helping them understand their options, helping them understand how it's going to fit their farm, and then walking them through scenarios about, well, what if this happens? What if that happens? How is this all going to react? And we can show them in the tool how that would react. We can't predict everything, but we can help them. A lot of the guys tell us that the tool helps them sleep at night because they understand what their worst case scenario is under a bunch of different sort of circumstances that may occur, versus the other insurance products that are out there that aren't as robust. They do one thing well. They might cover yield well, or hail insurance covers hail well, but it doesn't do all the things that ours can do. And so we use that process to help people understand it better and make a better decision for their business.
Okay. I love it. And I want to do that call out because sometimes I do, and I say it a lot on the show. I think we can be our own worst enemies, right? We have a lot on the go. And if you want to dive into something unknown, I think it can be just human nature. It's like, oh, I'll call them later because then I got to admit that I don't understand it. But it's really just call, right? Your team's there to help. So I always like to do that call out. Okay, so that is working with an advisor to find the right solution. Did you want to chat on that a little bit more, or did you cover what you wanted to say?
I think we're good.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, good. So we're going to work to wrap up the segment, and I want to get you to leave your final parting words for the farmer right now, where they're at. Leave some final words of wisdom, and then we'll do a call out on how farmers can connect with Global Ag Risk and find out more.
Sure.
Take it away.
Yes, if I could leave, one comment for farms is that this is a potentially a generational opportunity in 2022 with the high commodity prices. Lots of guys, especially in the East, have great snow, potential for a great crop coming up, that they should look at all their insurance options and understand how it's going to work for their business, because they're going to take on this potential generational opportunity, but they're having generational risk that's also being applied, and not covering off that risk in this year when you're seeing these massively high fertilizer prices, chemical prices, seed prices, would be really damaging to a farm business if you don't come out of this year with a good crop and you don't have a bad crop and you're not well insured. This is especially after having a drought in 2021 for a lot of guys where they've seen working capital erode. This is the year to take a good look, understand all the options available to you, understand how they all work. Maybe it's a combination of things. It's really an investment in some time and a little bit of paperwork to get through it. And our advisors will help guys understand, is our product, Global Ag's product, a good fit or not? And a lot of guys, even when they don't buy our product, are appreciative of the process that they've gone through, helping them understand the insurance options and helping them understand their business a little better. And it's a few hours of the farmer's time. And we have to do it real quick because crop insurance deadlines are coming up here at the end of March and into April. And but we have time still to get that done and help farms understand what's available to them for their business and figure out what's going to fit. And that's what we're excited to do every day. And sometimes we get to sell some insurance while we do it.
Love it. With all that being said, if somebody is interested in knowing more, where can they find out more and connect with you guys?
Yeah, so our easiest way is our website. It's just agrisksolutions.ca. Or they can call our office. We've got a 1-800 number, so it's 877-606-4277, and call the office, and we'll connect them with a local advisor that's in their area and start that process for them. And it's really quite simple. It takes a little bit of paperwork and a few conversations with a advisor, and all of our advisors are licensed insurance agents, and so they're well trained in all of the insurance options that are out there, not just ours.
Perfect. And I think it's like anything, right? It's once you have that meeting, the advisor knows you're set up, then it's easy every year after, right?
Yeah, next year is just really easy because you're adding one more year of information, updating any changes. It's real simple on the second year and beyond. First year is a bit of a lift, a little bit of paperwork and getting everything gathered up for us. We make it as easy as we can, but we do ask for 10 years of data. It's a lot of things you have to gather up. So,
okay. Well, you know what? In this day and age, with the opportunity, the risks at hand, and the uncertainties, I think now more than ever, farmers need to look into game-changing tools like what you guys are offering at Global Agri Solutions. So if they do have more information, we're also going to include those notes and contact details in the show page so you guys can check it out there. David, thank you so much for coming on the show and for sharing thoughts, ideas, and wisdom to help farmers improve their operation. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure, as always. And you in the audience, thank you for tuning in. And if you enjoyed this as much as I did, like it, share it, and get it out there so other farmers can hear the great work that the individuals at Global Agris are doing for farmers. Thanks, guys. See you next time. Bye-bye.